This is the Entrepreneur Unleashed Show, episode 50 with Tommi Wolfe.
The Entrepreneur Unleashed. The Entrepreneur Unleashed. The Entrepreneurs Unleashed. The podcast where purpose and passion become revenue streams. Be real. Take a stand. Change lives. Here's your host, Patty Keating.
Welcome to the Entrepreneur Unleashed Show. I'm your host, Patty Keating. Entrepreneurs everywhere are creating a new breed of business success. They're making their own rules, taking a stand for their purpose, leading through integrity, and making money by changing lives. Join me each week for compelling messages that will inspire and empower you to unleash your true purpose. Today's guest is Tommi Wolfe. She is the CEO of Top 6 Business Coach. She runs an international network of passionate, talented, entrepreneurial top 6 coaches, and she and her coaches are on a mission to make the lives of one-man businesses more abundant, fulfilling, and impactful. Clients hire Top 6 coaches for their no-nonsense, tell it like it really is systematic approach to helping clients create sustainability and lucrative businesses. Her company is best known for its robust year-long Top 6 mastermind program, which is a business accelerator for one-man businesses. It guides newer entrepreneurs through the fundamental steps that are required to build a strong, self-sustaining, and profitable business. Welcome, Tommi.
Thank you so much, Patty. I'm excited to be here with you today.
I am so glad you are here to join us. I really enjoyed meeting you when you came through my part of the country and everything that you're up to. I can't wait to share you with the audience and hear about your journey.
Well, we actually had a lovely time up in your end of the world. So, the whole Seattle, Portland area is a complete entrepreneurial hotbed. Met some amazing entrepreneurs while we were there, including yourself. So it was very fun for us too.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, let me just start and ask you, is there anything else you'd like us to know about you?
Ooh, that's too easy. No, I'm going to let you figure it out.
All right. Well, what inspired you to start this business?
Well, there were two things. I think one thing sort of pushed me into it and one thing sort of inspired me into it. So I'll tell you both. But I've always joked with people and say I'm living proof that you do not have to be born an entrepreneur. Because I had zero plans to be an entrepreneur. I was planning to be somebody's wife and design killer native gardens. And, my goal was to be an award-winning garden designer, not an entrepreneur. And I think I was a total spoiled brat all my life, had a good job in the tech world, stopped to have babies, resigned from my job, and was planning my garden career. But my husband was actually killed unexpectedly just after my daughter was born. So you can imagine it was a pretty traumatic time in my life.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And the reason I ended up becoming an entrepreneur, honestly, was I needed a plan in a hurry.
Yes, right. You're faced with something so unexpected.
Totally. And I could never bring myself to go and drop in South Africa at the time, there really wasn't great daycare options like there are in the States today. So I couldn't bring myself to leave her there. And I remember being really bewildered about what to do and thinking, what the heck should I do? And it's not an unusual start to entrepreneurship, honestly. With the many clients I've coached now, we often find that people's birth into entrepreneurship was ugly or painful or a layoff or something. So I don't think my story is that unusual. But I do want to share something funny with you because I remember at the time being, a little bit fearful about could I do this and what should I do? And I remember I called a lawnmower repair guy and I didn't have the husband anymore and the lawnmower was on the fritz. And he was so bad. I actually had to call him 3 times, actually, even to get him to come to the house. And when he came, he walked dirt all over my living room. And then he swore terribly while he was fixing the lawnmower. And after all that, he charged a fortune and he didn't even really fix it because it broke the next time we used it. But I remember thinking at the time, he'd shared with me that he had been in business for 28 years. And I remember thinking, if this doofus can be in business for 28 years, there must be hope for me. I must be able to pull it together a little bit better than that. So in some ways, that story actually gave me the courage to try. So I think those two events both stand out in my mind as what got me going.
That's a great story. We hire people or we have experiences with people for what we think is one reason, and then it turns out to be something completely different.
Yeah, who knew that this bad-tempered, dirty guy would actually inspire me to get my business off the ground? But he did.
Oh, you made lemonade.
Right. I didn't know I was doing that at the time, but I guess looking back, I was. Yeah.
So you decided to start your business, and then tell us a little bit more. What happened? How did it go at first?
Well, I think like all entrepreneurs, I started off with big stars in my eyes and lots of big dreams. And, the reality catches up with you very quickly. And I'd been a computer geek, so I didn't really know how to do a lot of other things. I think you and I have that in common, Patty. But so I started off being an IT consultant because I didn't think there was anything else I was qualified to do. And, it was ridiculously hard. I mean, I think like most newer entrepreneurs, first you got to figure out what to do. For me, it was easy. I only knew how to do one thing. So I had no problems on the niche decision. But the finding clients thing was really hard for me. And it's been really hard for most of the entrepreneurs I've coached. So I think it's just a common baptism into entrepreneurship that businesses have to walk through. I remember even at the end of the first year, my dad, who'd always been the biggest champion of me, I'd had a load of fun making a start in the business, but to be honest, I hadn't made any money at all in my first year. And I remember my dad saying to me, "Sweetie, I think perhaps you need a job." And I remember thinking, no, my greatest champion in the whole world, that just get a job. But I did figure things out, and I'm kind of proud of this. But a couple of years later, I was actually in the top 0.02% of earners in South Africa.
Wow, that's a big accomplishment.
Well, it was, and I mean, like many things, when you look back, you didn't do any one big thing. But if I did one thing right, it was go to a barbecue and sit next to somebody high up at Microsoft and manage to close a really sweet business deal at the barbecue on a Saturday afternoon. But once I had that big account, it wasn't nearly as hard getting all the other ones. I don't know if my confidence went up or the reference name that Microsoft would provide. It all helped. But it was a very successful business, and I think that was really my launch into entrepreneurship. But I went through all the early stage struggles that everybody else does, and to this day, as a business coach, I've got a real heart for the early journeys. As you know, I specialize in what I call early stage startup, and that is they haven't made $1 million yet. I specialize in that end of the business because it's painful, and because I've walked it and I have a heart for people trying to get through that area.
Yes, I love that you're serving that sector. They so need it. I'm kind of curious about this deal at the picnic, at the barbecue. I think it illustrates a really good lesson, Tommi, that, business is always around you. People will say, well, I don't have a list, or I don't have a JV partner, or, there's all these reasons about what they don't have, but business is always around you. Would you share a little bit more about that?
Well, a lot of things. I mean, basically, he just ended up being at the same barbecue as I was at, and I was sitting next to him, and there was no particular magic other than that we really got on and connected very well, got on like a house on fire. So we actually had loads of fun as well. But I think, Patty, it's so funny because people do overcomplicate business. And you often hear, I need the list or the JV partner or these techniques, so I need to run a telesummit. And the answer is BS. You don't. What you actually need is a real connection with somebody who can really use what you have.
Yes.
And I think people so often totally forget how incredibly valuable that connection is. And when we are using JV building lists and everything, the challenge is how the heck are you going to create that sort of connection over a list or an email? Because it's, and you're a late stage entrepreneur, Patty, so you know this already, but I think people underestimate the journey of trying to figure out the connection that you might make meeting somebody at a barbecue and trying to replicate that amount of know, like, and trust in an email sequence is pretty hard, right?
Yes.
So I always say, because I do work with the startup phase entrepreneurs, I'm always urging them to go back to basics and build some real relationships the easy way before you start building it the hard way,
Absolutely. And don't you think that when we build those relationships, it really tells us, it teaches us how to do that virtually. If you want to do an email sequence or, a telesummit eventually, you need to get out in the market in real time, in real life, in real conversations, and have reflected back to you what your value is and what people need.
Thank you for saying that. It's such an important point. And there's no way to bypass it. I've never found somebody who's successfully bypassed it. I've found many people that have tried. So many people start their business off with 100% virtual marketing, but you earn the right to virtually market and do things via email and so on by getting out from behind your computer and going and dealing with real people and looking them in the eyes and seeing if they love what you've got or if they hate it. Because there's no way to see that on the internet. It's the great abyss. You send your email out, and unless you really annoy people, which I've done before, then you hear loads back. But otherwise, you don't always hear it. So you don't get the feedback, right?
Yes, I love that. It's a great point. And I wanted to pause and illustrate that story of, you went to the barbecue and you connected with someone, and that's how we really do business. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I mean, everything we do, and and I know you specialize in sales funnels and so on, but everything we do in those particular tasks is designed to try and build the sort of know, like, and trust that you can do very easily in a live relationship, right?
Yes. So you've got this client. So you've kind of moved through the challenging startup phase. What lessons did you learn over the years as you grew your business, Tommi?
Well, I feel like it's interesting, but I think there are three major challenges that all of us go through when we start businesses, at least three, but I'd put them into three categories. And having watched, having coached so many entrepreneurs to do this, I realized my own journey was not unique. I've now seen it again and again and again in our clients. But I feel like there's three major meltdowns that any entrepreneur can expect. And every meltdown is followed by a major breakthrough. So my first one, I sort of avoided meltdown and breakthrough number one, which is really around the niching, because there was only one thing I could do. But I had it later on. When I started this business, my business coaching business, I went through all the niche angst that I've watched so many of our clients go through. So some people are just lucky they know what their niche is going to be. But other people have a huge amount of I feel like it's like giving birth to a baby. It takes about 9 months and can be just as painful. But people get stuck and they can't figure out exactly who their market is or exactly what problem they want to solve. And there's an enormous amount of emotional attachment to it. And when that isn't right, nothing else in the business works. So it's very much a fear and doubt stage in a business where people struggle. So and I didn't have it on my IT businesses, but when I started this one, I sure did. I think the biggest one, and the one that's grown me the most as a person, is definitely the next meltdown and breakthrough phase, which I really think is figuring out how to build a client generating engine. And it's the thing that most people in my market, the startup market, early stage, not yet in seven figures market, it's the thing that most of them struggle with the most. I think part of this is why we grow so much as entrepreneurs, because, entrepreneurs are amazing people, and late stage entrepreneurs have really been through a bit to get there. And don't you think the thing that we've all had to confront, Patty, is the ability to be rejected?
Yes.
And to be okay with it, and to not take that on as a personal judgment of any sort. And more importantly, to learn from it and take it constructively and use it to mold and shape your business and your products and your offerings.
Absolutely. It's the biggest personal development journey anyone could ever sign up for.
Exactly. And some people just aren't going to, so I think some people do go through all the hassle of and, expense of starting a business and find that they really just cannot make that breakthrough personally. I think not everybody's robust enough for it, and they won't be an entrepreneur if they can't.
Absolutely. Yeah, those are some big lessons.
It's very hard lessons, but incredibly liberating lessons when you realize that what other people think of you is actually not going to define you at the end of the day,
Exactly. I tell my clients what other people think of you is none of your business.
Right.
Okay, well, tell us what's going on with you right now. What are you passionate about?
Well, we're at an enormously exciting stage of our business right now. I was a business coach for many years, and I think when we got our model about perfect, we decided to expand. And I'm such a believer in the live and local and the model that we were talking about just now, that's how I decided to expand. So I am now launching business coaches live and local in their own areas, in their own backyards. It's been amazing and it's been really humbling. And it's been exciting because we're growing and we're going global and, it's just been very, very exciting to watch.
That's it. It is exciting, and it's exciting.
Well, it's a multiplier, so it's always nice to find those multipliers in the business.
And getting people in their community and out and serving and getting information. I love your approach, Tommi. I think it's so needed.
Thank you. Well, you know what I realized, Patty, and maybe this is not rocket science, but I think we forgot it with the whole internet and social media era, is that people have always been wired to connect with other people. And what I found coaching one-man entrepreneurs for so long is many of them are actually dying of loneliness. So here we take the combination of somebody who's dying with loneliness. They used to work in a big corporate office and have the water cooler or the vending machine or some place to chat. And all of a sudden they're behind their PC all by themselves, or they're out networking with their game face on, neither of which feel particularly great. And then we put them on this entrepreneurial journey, which is one of the toughest on earth, where we've now got to confront our fears as an entrepreneur and so on, and learn to be rejected and learn to sell and all those things. It's not a good combination. The loneliness and the isolation doesn't go well with being brave and putting on your best face. So what I love about our model is, and you can probably hear I'm fairly passionate about this, but I love that we actually get people live and local. So they have a real connection with real people. And I'd like to tell you it's all about them and their coach. But the truth is it's actually more about the community and each other. That's part of the magic of our model is they form real bonds with real people, and that actually gives them the courage and the love and the support they need to build this amazing entrepreneurial business.
What a great thing to be passionate about.
It's exciting to me.
So, Tommi, what's your vision for the next maybe 3 to 5 years with this business?
Well, we're definitely taking the business coaching model as global as we can get it. But I think the thing that also really excites me very much is I am passionate about getting this into the hands of younger people. So I would love to see our programming being taught in colleges. They were starting to do a very good job on entrepreneurship, but a lot of the entrepreneurship is not what we do. There's a lot of social entrepreneurship, there's a lot of crowdfunding, there's a lot of tech startup. But the service-based business, which I've always thought is probably one of the lowest risk, easiest businesses to start, just isn't well serviced in that market. So I would love to see our programming in the hands of college-age youngsters. Because I always feel like, Patty, don't you often wish that you knew I wish that I'd come across some of the tools that I now have when I was 18 or 20. It would have made such a difference to my life. So that's one of the big visions I have, is to try and get this material available in a more mass market through colleges and incubators and so on.
Oh boy, if I know you, I think that's going to be a done deal.
Well, I'm excited about it, and it's kind of a no-brainer because we've got such a beautiful program lined up and it's ready to go for them. So I hope you're right about that, Patty.
I'll be cheering. Let's talk about growth. We mentioned it earlier, but what's the best advice that you've ever received?
It's funny how things are, because I've had so much good advice and I'm not very good about taking it. But let me tell you one of the more profound things. I feel like I've got a knack for learning things the hard way. I hate that about me. But a couple of years ago, I went down to the Infusionsoft conference, and there was some cause that they were advertising that really caught my heart. And I made a big donation towards it, not knowing that the prize for some of the bigger donations was to spend a couple of hours with their chief marketing officer, who was going to come and give you like a little mini VIP day and spend a couple of hours looking at your business. Now, Infusionsoft is one of the smartest marketing companies anywhere, right?
Yes.
They've had incredible growth. But I had Greg Head come and put his hands and his head on my business one afternoon. And he said something that's really stayed with me, and I should tell him this one day, but I've passed this on a gazillion times to people, but some of the best advice I've ever had. But he said, whenever you are going to create another breakthrough for your business, first you need to let go of something, and then you need to sharpen your focus on something else. And, at the time, it didn't mean a lot to me. but it's come, those words have come back to me so often, because when I look back over my own business, every single breakthrough we've had has been accompanied first by a letting go. So in a normal business event, this might be, you let go, maybe you're serving 2 markets instead of 1, and you finally get your niche right because you let something go. And then you might, look at some of your product lines and let the less profitable ones go, and then focus on the ones you've got left behind. Or you might let some of your customers go and focus on the ones that are left behind. So it's always this sort of 2-pronged, first you let go. And people are often, I think most of business growth is actually more about letting go than taking on. Because you've got to make space and mental focus and time, get your time uncluttered. So I pass that on in the hopes that it will be as profound for any of your listeners as it has been for me. But all my breakthroughs have been associated with first a letting go and then sharpening our focus on something else.
Yes, that's brilliant. Thank you. So what personal growth have you experienced along the way?
Oh my goodness. I think that all my big lessons have come through my business. And I think probably the biggest lesson that I've learned, and I didn't learn it quickly, I'm sorry to tell you, but it's probably humility. Because, I went through a stage when the business started going really well, where I called it pardon my French here, Patty, but my hot shit phase, where I suddenly started thinking, man, I'm good at this and I'm making a difference. And, they always say pride comes before a fall. And I think I really, when I look back, I really got to a point where I really did just feel like, man, I'm quite something. And I think that, I ended up doing something in the business where I oversold private coaching. And I spent the next year struggling like crazy. And I always felt like that was the fall I had for getting arrogant about what I could sell and so on. But it taught me a lot of very valuable lessons about how not to oversell private coaching. But, I think when you've held the hands of as many entrepreneurs as I have at this point and had to be up close and personal while they go through this complete roller coaster of getting their business off the ground, I think I've become incredibly humble and honored to be part of the journey, because it's almost a sacred journey, There's so many difficult lessons that are learned and so much personal growth, and you get to be a witness and watch that. And it's a very special honor that I think I've been privy to. And it's lovely to be able to give that to my coaches now and have them have a similar experience as I went through.
Isn't it just incredible how we grow and change as a result of these businesses? I'm right there with you.
Yeah. I've got something else I just want to pass on as lessons I have learned, though. I think the biggest personal lesson I've learned is humility. But in terms of a business lesson, I always call it popping, but I think I've learned patience, because I realize that, we all want everything yesterday. Like we want the client to sign today and we want another 6 figures today and so on. But I've really learned that you need to have patience to build the engine correctly, and that it takes time. So patience is one thing. I think I've learned the art of optimizing. So we never, we get something out good enough, and then we carefully optimize and correct, optimize and correct, optimize and correct. And that really does get us something that's amazing. And then the last P in pop is actually the plod. But in many ways, I think that the reason I'm here and doing well is because I've kept on going, because we've had our fair share of things that haven't gone the way I wanted. And the gifts is always in those things where things don't go so well. But if you keep on keeping on, you actually are going to get there, because that's something most people don't have. They'll get frustrated and give up too soon.
Great insights. So tell us a little bit about tools and resources. What gadgets or tools do you use that make life easier?
I probably use Snagit 20 times a day. I don't know what I would do with it. And whenever I get a new PC, that's the first tool that goes on it. Funny little screen capture tool, but I would be lost without it now, because it's so much easier to show people a little picture than words. So I copy and paste, here's the problem I'm having, or here's what I want to have different. And so I use that an enormous amount. And then the other one, which is, I think, an amazingly inexpensive tool, but I think it revolutionizes the life of everybody in the service-based business, is Time Trade. And it's now many competitors like Calendly and all the various other ones But I do feel like the electronic calendars that automatically handle your scheduling for you I don't know what we would do without them, honestly.
Those are great tips. We're going to create your show notes page. So for those of you who are listening, you're out and about, maybe you're on a run, maybe you're out getting groceries or driving kids to and fro. When you get back and you want to explore what the heck is Snagit, it'll be on our show notes page, which is at pattykeating.com/Tommi Wolfe. And Tommy is spelled Tommi. You can also just type in Tommy's name in our search bar and it will pull up the page. There'll be highlights from our interview today. And then also any of these great resources that she is sharing will be listed there with links so you can check them out as well. And so, Tommi, what about books, podcasts, blogs? What are you listening to? What are you reading?
Well, you know what? First of all, I love that you do a podcast, Patty, because I honestly think that one of my little secret weapons, if you like, in being competitive in this marketplace is I prodigiously learn. I'm constantly learning new things. I read all the time, but I don't actually read. I listen. My brain works well with listening. So things like podcasts and Audible, I absolutely love. I've solidly collected all the books that I love together. So I've put them all out on Pinterest. So anybody can just go get them. But if you would like it's at pinterest.com/startup experts.
Oh, great. Yes.
But one of my boards is books I think all entrepreneurs should read. So I've got a little collection there that I think is a pretty good collection for anybody who runs a small business.
Oh, that's awesome. We'll put that in the show notes as well. You guys can go check out her Pinterest recommended reading list for business owners. And then what if people want to learn more about your business, connect with you? Do you have a website? Where should they go?
Yes, they should go to top6businesscoach.com. So that's just got the number 6. So top6businesscoach.com. And I'm sure that they will find a way to get hold of me there, either phone or, set up a chat or whatever works.
Awesome. So let me ask you this, Tommi. If you were to do this all over again, what would you tell your younger self?
Wow. I would probably say, stop playing so safe. Take more risks. We're so risk averse and we always try and be so sensible. And I think we have no need to do that. I think it's fine to just go ahead and take those risks. And I think there's plenty of room at the top because most people are so busy being sensible. My greatest wish for every listener is that at the end of their lives, that there's no taste of regret. I think that the taste of regret is much more bitter than the cost of courage. I wish them the courage to go and do everything that they need to do and do it now and don't wait.
That's a great quote. We got to get that in the show notes. The taste of regret is far more
bitter than the cost of courage.
Oh, Tommi, thank you so much for being with us today and sharing your journey and just everything that you're up to. I have no doubt that your business is going to continue to expand and we will be watching and participating right along with you.
Well, thank you, Patty. Thank you so much for having me on. So I really appreciate that.
As do we. Thanks, Tommi.
Bye-bye.
If you're a visionary leader who has a message for the world and you're ready to unleash your greatness, you don't want to miss this transformational 3-day event coming up August 12th through 14th in Portland, Oregon, Unleashed Live, where you will learn the exact steps to find your money spot, that place where your purpose and passion become revenue streams. You'll understand how to create a compelling message that resonates with your unique set of ideal clients so you can help more people, make more money, and create the freedom lifestyle business of your dreams. Head on over to pattykeating.com/unleashed-live to learn more and get registered for the live event August 12th through 14th in Portland, Oregon. See you there.
I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Entrepreneur Unleashed Show. If you did, please go to pattykeating.com and let me know what you're up to this year in your business. While you're there, be sure to grab your copy of 5 Quick Ways to Share Your Expertise.